We have seen so far Battle of Plassey, which took place in 1757, very decisive, very decisive. Why it was called decisive? Because it was a turning point in the history of India as well as Britishers. They became ruler for the first time. All these days they were just traders. They were just traders. You know, Battle of Plassey, Mir Jafar was murdered the Nawab of Bengal. You are all aware. Who became Nawab of Bengal, my children? Mir Jafar. Who was Mir Jafar? He was the military head under Siraj Dawla. He betrayed his own Nawab and he was hand in gloves with whom? Robert Clive, because of the treachery, because of the cheating, and Siraj Dawla was killed, in which the Battle of Plassey went in favor of Robert Clive, and as the promise, the understanding, Mir Jafar was murdered, Nawab of Bengal, but he was not, because he was just a puppet. He was just a puppet means what? No power. Powerless, toothless. Because everything was done by only East India Company and he did not have any money also. The treasury became bankrupt. When something goes bankrupt means having no money. Bank means full of money. Bankrupt means no money at all. So his administration become no money at all. Become so bankrupt because of the greedy nature. Greedy nature and the greedy nature of the whom? The East India Company, headed by Robert Clive. And the officials, they never satisfied. They wanted to become themselves richer. They did not care about the people. So that's the reason. And immediately the Mir Jafar was projected as an inefficient ruler. He is inefficient means incapable of ruling the country. So immediately what happened? Immediately he was thrown out. In his place, his nephew, whose nephew? Mir Jafar's nephew, whose name was Mir Qasim. Who became ruler, my children? Mir Qasim became ruler. That is Nawab of Bengal. So first Siraj Dawla, he was defeated in 1757, Battle of Plassey. In his place, Mir Jafar came to become Nawab of Bengal. After some time, he was projected as what? Incapable, inefficient, is of no use. Immediately he was thrown out. In his place, his own nephew, Mir Qasim, became the Nawab of Bengal. I hope you all know. So far, no confusion, my children. Now let us see. We are going to see Battle of Buxar. Now what are we going to see, my children? Battle of Buxar. B-U-X-A-R. But Buxar, where is Buxar? Now it's in Bihar. The Battle of Buxar took place in 1764. Battle of Plassey took place in 1757. Battle of Buxar took place in 1764. Before that, let us find out what are the events that led to Battle of Buxar. Okay. Now, as soon as Mir Qasim was made Nawab of Bengal, and he was very obedient, very loyal, very trustworthy, very faithful to East India Company of the Britishers. And over a period of time, what happened? He just they said he was just obeying. He was dancing to the tunes of the British officers and he had to pay 2 lakh pounds. 2 lakh pounds. What is pounds? Pounds is a monetary unit of the Britishers or we call sterling. Okay. So 2 lakh pounds he had to pay and not only that, he was given some place also. He gave 2 lakh pounds to the East India Company and also places. How? 5-ton villages you take it. So he paid the money and gave some places. Now he become independent. He become independent means hereafter I will not listen to you. Now let me rule according to my own according to my own whims and fancies. Now East India Company, you take the money, take the places. Now you don't interfere. Now I will rule on my own. Who said? Mir Qasim. Mir Qasim become so independent immediately. He said there will be no duty for any business. That means duty free. Duty free means nobody has to pay more taxes. Now Britishers for the matter, local Indians for the matter, they can do business. Everybody had to pay the same tax. That means Britishers will not have any special arrangement. Under the previous Dastaks, where they misuse, where they can import anything, they can export anything, they did not have to pay money to the whom? The ruler. But that is stopped now. No more Dastaks, no more paying tax. Now everybody can do anything. As a result, the Indian merchants, Indian traders, they become very happy and they started doing business in such a manner where Britishers were not able to make profit. Their business become very less profitable because of the decision taken by Mir Qasim, where Indians got lot of benefit, where Britishers were not able to make more profit. This one reason is enough for the Britishers to throw him out. Throw whom? Mir Qasim out. Again immediately they contacted Mir Jafar. Mir Jafar, he was more than willing to help them out, and with his forces Mir Qasim was thrown out. Again Mir Jafar was made the ruler of Bengal. So Mir Jafar became ruler second time. First time after the death of Siraj Dawla after Battle of Plassey. Second time after his own nephew Mir Qasim was thrown out by East India Company British officers. Second time he was murdered. This time he became completely what? Complete loyal, just like a slave he started. Now Mir Qasim, he was very clever now, very shrewd. Immediately he took the help of Shah Alam II, Mughal ruler. The Mughal ruler, Shah Alam II, he was also unhappy with the East India Company's business rules. He took the help, and one more gentleman whose name was Sujadu Dawla, and he was the ruler of Awadh, Nawab of Awadh. Where is Awadh? Awadh is in Lucknow. Lucknow, today's Lucknow, capital of Uttar Pradesh. In those it was called Awadh, the surrounding areas. And he took there of Sujadu Dawla, Shah Alam II Mughal ruler, and this Mir Qasim. These three people combinedly they attacked East India Company forces. It was held by Hector Munro. Battle of Plassey took place between Robert Clive and Siraj Dawla, in which Siraj Dawla was defeated and killed. This time, Battle of Buxar, this battle took place at a place called Buxar in 1764. After 7 years of Battle of Plassey, these three people came together under one umbrella. They combined forces attacked the East India official army. It was headed by Hector Munro, and Hector Munro forces were able to defeat these three people, and they become winner. This time they become much stronger than what they were. Already Battle of Plassey gave them strength, but Battle of Buxar gave them more strength because now they were able to defeat combined force of Mir Qasim, Sujadu Dawla and Shah Alam II. As a result, what happened? They started making lot of progress. Now what happened when this was happening in the Battle of Buxar? Mir Qasim escaped from the battleground. Enough is enough. He went off, and Shah Alam II surrendered. Sujadu Dawla also surrendered to East India Company. Okay, hereafter we will keep quiet, and whatever you say we will obey. Whatever you say we will obey. That's how these people agreed. Now after having said that, so remember my children, Battle of Buxar took place in which year? 1764. And which year? Okay, who was the British officer? Hector Munro. Battle of Plassey, 1757. Who was the English officer? Robert Clive. Don't get confused. Okay. Now we are going to see what are the outcomes of which one? Battle of Buxar. Outcomes means what? Outcomes. What is the meaning of outcomes? Consequences. What is the meaning of outcomes? Consequences. First one is Shah Alam the second, he gave Diwani rights over Bengal to Britishers. Over Bengal to the, who is Britishers here then? East India Company. East India Company was ruling India till 1857. After 1857 only, British government took direct control. That must be understood, okay, my children. So, first outcome after the Battle of Buxar, Shah Alam II, he gave Diwani rights to the Britishers over Bengal. To whom? East India Company. Second, the same Shah Alam, he gave other rights also. He gave other rights to same Britishers, and the Britishers had to pay 26 lakh rupees per annum. Per annum is per year. Okay, my children. So annually, how much money they had to pay? 26 lakh. Whom did they have to pay? They had to pay to whom? Shah Alam II at one agreement, because already he gave Diwani rights free of cost. What is Diwani rights? Diwani rights are about, what is Diwani? One more question. What is Diwani right? The right to collect land taxes. What is Diwani right? The right to collect land tax. Remember, in those days, no industries, no commerce, only land tax was the only source of income. So that was also given to whom? Britishers. So Britishers will go and ask any farmer to pay tax, and farmers had to pay tax. If they did not pay tax, and his land will be given to somebody else. So this is the way they used to collect money. So Diwani right, the right to collect land taxes, that right was given to Britishers, first condition. Second outcome, what are other rights that were also given to East India Company, and in turn, these Britishers, East India Company people had to pay 26 lakh rupees per year to Shah Alam II. And third one, the Nawab of Awadh, Sujat-Dowla, he waged war against Britishers along with Shah Alam II, Mir Qasim, for which he had to pay 50 lakh rupees. Who had to pay? Nawab of Awadh. Where is Awadh? Today's Lucknow, capital of Uttar Pradesh. Who was Nawab of Awadh? Sujat-Dowla. Had to pay, how much money had to pay? 50 lakh rupees. And the fourth one, the Mir Jafar, who became ruler after Mir Qasim. First he became ruler after Siraj-Dowla. Second time he became ruler after Mir Qasim, and he died. When Mir Jafar died, and his son should have been the Nawab of Bengal, but Britishers said, his son, no, you take pension. You take pension every month, and you be in your palace. You are now no longer going to be a Nawab of Bengal. Hereafter, entire Bengal will be under the control of East India Company. So, entire Bengal under the control of whom? Administration. Bengal was under the control of East India Company. There were no more Nawabs. Now, we are going to see one more. After having got everything, now we are going to see the Battle of Buxar made the British the real holder of the power, not only in Bengal but also Bihar and Orissa. Today's Bihar, Orissa also part of Bengal province in those days, and they also become much more powerful. Almost northeastern state, they become real ruler. And not only that, the evil Awadh, the Nawab of Awadh, Sujat-Dowla, he surrendered. This land was also brought under East India Company. Now Awadh also under the British. So Bihar under their control, Orissa under their control, Bengal was already under their control, and Awadh also under their control. And not only that, in the year of 1765, in which year, my children? 1765, Robert Clive introduced dual government. What did he introduce, my children? Dual government. What is the meaning of dual government? Under the dual government, British had the right to collect land tax, almost Diwani rates. So they had the right to collect land taxes and administrative and justice will be done by the local Nawab. That's what's the idea. The small rulers, princely rulers, and they will have to pay some money. They can be a local king, but they have to pay money to the Britishers, and those people can take care of administrative and justice. So justice, administration were given to them. This is what all about dual government. Examination, they may ask, who introduced dual government? Robert Clive introduced. In which year was it introduced? It was introduced 1765. What is dual government? Under the dual government, the right to collect land taxes were given to the Britishers, and rest of the administrative and justice was given to the local rulers. This is what dual stand for two. What does dual stand for, my children? Two. This is what happened. Now, as a result, Britishers gained political control over India, and they wanted to protect their interest also. So this is what all about this lesson. And having said that, you must be thorough about, my children. Year matters. What matters, my children? History means year. History means what? Year. Dates, full of dates you must mention. First thing you should have come across, 1453. Does anybody remember 1453, my children? I hope. Yes, you remember, correct. That is Ottoman Empire captured Constantinople. Ottoman Empire. Constantinople was captured by whom? Ottoman Empire. And this was the reason in which year 1498 Vasco da Gama was able to succeed in his discovery of sea route to India. Even though many people tried, because of the support extended by European rulers like Spain kings and Portuguese kings, they promoted, encouraged sailors to discover sea route. Bartholomew Dias, he came all the way from Europe to South Africa. Again he went back. It was Vasco da Gama. He was able to come to what you call India in 1498. That's an important thing. And next one we have seen after that, we were here 1869. Do you remember, my children, 1869? 1869 is all about what? Suez Canal. Suez Canal is all about what? Yeah, man-made canal which was built by Britishers, so that they did not have to go all the way to touring around the Africa. Now they can go all the way. Which one? Some Mumbai to Ethiopia, Red Sea is by neighboring what? Egypt, and Mediterranean Sea, and this can be made. Suez Canal connects Mediterranean Sea and Red Sea. This 1869 happened. You must have come across, my children. Very, very important. 1869. Next one, we are going to see Portuguese. But see, Portuguese, you remember three people who are there: Vasco da Gama, followed by Francisco da Almeida. Francisco da Almeida should be remembered for what? Blue water policy. And next one, another person who was the founder of Portuguese rule in India, Albuquerque. Who was the founder, my children? Alfonso da Albuquerque. In which year? 1510. 1510 Goa was brought under the control of Portuguese. It was a major victory for Portuguese people. Then three people you should remember. Next, Dutch people, they did not make much, but 1602 they established United East India Company. United East India Company for Dutch people. Who? Dutch people established East India Company. That should be remembered. Next one, English, you should be remembered. 1600 Queen Elizabeth gave permission to authorize East India Company to do business, and every